The Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development has signed a landmark housing development partnerships with the Shelter Afrique Development Bank to address Nigeria's housing infrastructural deficit. The Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Architect Ahmed Musa Dangiwa, on behalf of the federal government, signed the agreement at the Renew Hope Housing Summit 2025 with the team leveraging public-private partnership to deliver the Renew Hope housing agenda. Holina Adojo covers the event and reports.
The Renewed Hope Housing Summit, which held in Abuja, brought together critical stakeholders from both the public and private sector to address the housing deficit challenge of the country. Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Architect Ahmed Musa Dangiwa, in his address, emphasized that the historic event and the signing of the agreement marks a significant step towards addressing Nigeria's housing challenge and also a forum to discuss further on how to improve on sustainable urban and infrastructural development of the country. Architect Dangiwa, while noting that Nigeria's housing and urban development challenges requires urgent and decisive action from all stakeholders, said the partnership arrangement with Shelter Afrique Development Bank is set to deliver 100,000 housing units under the phase 1 of the project.
And for both programs, we have made public-private partnerships a key part of our efforts to ensuring that we are able to conceive and implement large-scale affordable housing and urban development interventions and create significant impact nationwide to complement budgetary allocations. Under the PPP framework arrangement, we are working to deliver 100,000 housing units with a consortium of developers. Under the phase 1 of the MOU, we aim to deliver 7 renewed hope cities targeting the Federal Capital Territory, Lagos, Kano, Maiduguri, Enugu, Port Harcourt, and Nasarawa with effective demand for housing.
Shelter Afrique Development Bank is a pan-Afrique multilateral development bank which specializes on housing financing for sustainable green housing, urban development, and allied infrastructural development services, operates through a shareholding of 44 African countries and governments. The Minister of Housing further explains key components of the partnership agreement and issues of housing and urban development it will address.
I'm also happy to report that today we align with a landmark housing development partnership agreement with Shelter Afrique Development Bank. This partnership aims to deliver 5,000 housing units in its first phase, with plans for nationwide expansion. This agreement is historic because it marks the first time the federal government through the ministry is directly collaborating with SharpDB to access developer finance for affordable housing. Previously, the bank primarily supported private developers catering high-income earners.
The Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Architect Ahmed Musa Dangiwa, while appealing for more budgetary allocation to the ministry, encourage the private sector to partner with government to deliver housing to Nigerians in line with the renewed hope agenda of the present government. He stressed that the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu recognizes and prioritizes housing as a key driver of economic growth and social inclusion in development. High point of the Renewed Hope Housing Summit 2025 was a signing ceremony of the Public-Private Partnership Agreement. Holina Adojo, ASO Television News.